Hi everybody, this is a video to talk about the SVGs which have just been released, which allow you to make 3 different designs of a bouquet box, and you also get a file to make a daisy type flower with leaves and a bare grass leaf as well. So I think I'll bring in this one first. Which one's that? Yeah, bouquet vase A this is. So this is the one. You get a PDF of instructions. Goodness me, what's gone on there? Must have selected more than one. There we are. This is the one that has a straight edge and then this lovely latticed overlay that covers up the walls of it. You get a PDF of instructions with this with your purchase, as you always do, which goes through in detail how to assemble it. This SVG is really just about taking it through Design Space. So the first thing to do is to convert those lines that come in as cuts, which we actually need to be scores. In my SVGs, they always live in this first subgroup within your layers panel. If a multi-part SVG with score lines has been saved correctly, it'll come in 3 groups. There'll be this main group at the top, which contains everything, and within that there'll be 2 subgroups. One where the lines that need converting to scores are all grouped together, so it's super easy to convert them. And then another one where all the cuts live, the cut pieces and any cuts within them. So the first one, if you do it in this order, nothing jumps around in the layers panel and it's nice and easy to work with. So you're going to click on that first subgroup, the name of it, which is that second line down in your layers panel. Just click on the name of it, it selects everything within it. Go over to your operations menu and choose score. And while they're still selected, go back to your layers panel and click on ungroup at the top. If you're working on a mobile app, these will be along the bars at the bottom, but they're pretty easy to find. Second step is to select that group below them, which contains all the cuts, and all you need to do there is ungroup it. And the third step is to select the whole thing, so the quickest way to do it is click on that final group that's still left in your layers panel and just ungroup that once more. So now everything's a separate piece on the canvas. We can attach the score lines to the pieces that they relate to, and there are only 2 pieces here that have scores. There's this, which is the ribbon that wraps around the waist of the, oops, I just resized that then, wraps around the waist of the vase, and this, which is the actual main vase body wall. Obviously, this is the template for the florist foam that you're going to cut out and stick in it. This pink one is the base of the vase and it joins onto the walls there. No scores on any of these bits. The reason I only give, although this is obviously, that's your base, so we know it's an 8-sided vase. The reason I only give you one of each piece is because if I gave you 8, you'd have to go through this attaching process 8 times, and it just, to me, it seems unnecessarily time consuming. And also, when you duplicate it, I'm going to show you a way to put your pieces together, assuming the pattern of your card will allow it, which saves you a bit of paper. So if we just made, so we need 8 of that, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just clicking on Control D on my keyboard there. The duplicate symbol is this one here. You could also do copy and paste if you wanted to. So I'm just getting all those out the way. And this is the overlay, so obviously we need 8 of these as well. So again, we've got 1, we need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just love how Design Space puts these duplications in all the random places. Sigh. So I'm just going to shift them out of the way, because I need them out of the way in a minute. So we've got all our pieces there. So let's just click make it and I'll show you what happens. That obviously, that's your template. You could cut that from anything and it's just in a scrap on its own. These are the little bits of ribbon. Again, you'll cut those from a scrap, but the mats I want to talk about are these. So you can see how Design Space lays it around, and you could change it around at this point and move things up, but if you leave it till this stage, you have to do that every time you make it. Instead, do that on your canvas and then save it as a project, and you don't need to do it twice. So we've got another wall here, We're going to rotate it. In fact, I'm going to get rid of those now because we won't need those now. I'm just going to zoom in to make sure that that's nice and tight. You don't have to go too tight actually because you only get 4 across the width of an A3. So I'm just going to, for tidiness sake, I'm just going to align those top and then I'm going to duplicate them and then I'm going to sit those there. And now I'm going to align all those at the top and I'm going to attach them. So that I've got 4 walls there, I need 8, so I've got another 8 there. This is the base of it, so that's going to cut from the same colour. That's your ribbon, and that's the tiny little piece that wraps around the ribbon. Back of the bow, should I say. That's not the ribbon, it's the bow. So if we attach those now, just going to have another think about that, just to make sure it won't go across the width. No, it's way too wide. I think one of these has to be, well, either. Yeah. So if we attach those, and we attach those, there are two 12 by 12s there. If you're cutting from A3, thought I'd attach those. If you're cutting from A3, you would do a different layout, but so many people work on 12 by 12. I just wanted to show you that. But let's just say, right, with these as well, you're going to do the same with these. You do your turning around on the canvas and save it as a project, and then you don't need to change it around every time you come to make the job. So I'll just align those at the top. Get rid, I need to keep that one, and I'm going to get rid of everything else. Right, so that's like that. I'm going to duplicate them. Align them at the top. You don't have to do that aligning thing. I just like it to be tidy. I'm going to attach those. I'm going to duplicate it. Whoops, it is. Move those down there. Align them left. So again, I'm trying to get these on a 12 by 12. If you're not working on 12 by 12, then if you're working on A4, then let's just detach those. You might decide to just do a run of them. How big is that? Yes, you won't get another one. You'd get 5 on an A4. I think you'll get all of this from a 12 by 12 by putting things together like this. But if you're working on A4, maybe do it this way instead. So you've got one there. And again, these are for the bottom of the vase, so we need 8 of these as well. Yeah, I think that's going to fit on an A4. by 28, yeah. So you could attach those, and they would both cut onto A4s. If you were, as I said before, if you're doing these on A3, because if you're doing it 12 by 12, you'd need 2 12 by 12s and then a scrap for that. And that's not a really big deal, actually, because you could actually make that out of just a contrasting colour or a similar colour because it's never going to be seen. But if you wanted to do it on A3, then you've got your width pretty much there. You're not going to get another one across the width of an A3, but you could. This, of course, is assuming, chances are you're going to be making this out of something plain if you're using this lattice thing over the top of it. But if you're not, just consider that when you're changing your walls around. How big is that? Yeah, that's an A3 there. So you'd need an A3. How big is that? 27. Oh, look at that. That would be an A3 and an A4. 20.4, yeah, just on an A4 on the width there. We could probably get that one moved over a little bit more, but yes. So 1.5 A3s or an A3 and an A4 for the main vase, 2 A4s for the trim, scrap for that florist's foam template, and then these are the contrast bits for your whoops a daisy for your bow, which you'll just stop it. I need a new mouse. I think it does really strange things. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so all the vases work in more or less the same way, but I will bring the other ones in just to show them. So that was A. This is B. I give you all 8 pieces of this just because there's no overlay, so there's no duplicating to do. It seemed easier just to give you all 8 pieces. So again, that first subgroup in your layers panel, just click on the name of it, which is the second line down in your layers panel. Go to your operations menu and choose score from the drop down list. And now, because you've got more than one piece here, we have to ungroup them. So when you've got this little symbol here, it means it's a group and you've got to ungroup it. So we'll ungroup it. And again, if you do it in this order, scores, cut pieces, whole SVG, everything stays in the right place in the layers panel. So click on that subgroup below now, which contains all the cuts, and all we do there is ungroup. And then click on that final group that's still there in your layers panel, which is everything on canvas, and ungroup that. And now we can attach the score lines to the individual pieces of a wall that they relate to. All I'm doing is clicking on canvas near a piece, dragging a box to enclose it, and clicking attach at the bottom of the layers panel. Again, excuse me, if you're on the mobile app, that will be somewhere else. 6, 7, 8, so that's 8 walls. This is the little ribbon that goes around the waist of the vase, and nothing else has scores. So again, with this one, I mean, we'll make it this way. So that would be your contrast for your ribbon. That would be the template for your florist's foam, and everything else will cut from 2 sheets of A3, even without any turning around. So if you're not bothered about saving paper, because you really don't save a lot, do you, by all that work on screen, just send it to cut and it'll cut it the right way. It does still move two of your pieces around, so just bear that in mind. If you don't want to do that, if your pattern really only works vertically, then do that interlocking thing so that at least all your pieces can go vertically on the card that you're cutting from. So that's vase B, which has this lovely heart-shaped top and the heart cutouts out of the top of it. I'm not going to make it, so I'll just delete that. And now we'll upload, I think pretty sure this is C, yeah. And again, I've only given you one of each wall and trim because it would have been a lot, and you've got the duplication to do. There'd have been a lot on canvas if I'd given you all the pieces, and I think sometimes it just looks a bit confusing. So again, we're going to click on that first subgroup, just click on the name of it, second line down in your layers panel, go to your operations menu, choose score from the drop down, and ungroup. This time there's more than one piece. Okay, select the cut pieces and ungroup them, select the whole SVG and ungroup it. And now we can do the attaching the score lines onto that wall piece there, and that's it. Okay, so we need 8 of these. So we've got 1, we need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to move those because I think I know where it's going to put it, but you can't always tell. It does do it in different places. We've got 2. One of those we need 2, 3, love it, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got our 8 main body walls, we've got our 8 overlays. That's the base of the vase. That's your template for the florist foam, and this is your ribbon. When you come to actually cut it, of course, you'll look at the card you're going to use and you'll decide which mats you want these pieces of ribbon to go on, whether or not you want them to match your trim or the vase underneath, or you don't have to leave them in the split I've got them. You can make them any colour you want just by clicking on a piece and going up here and choosing which mat you want them to be on. You've also got your colour sync which is also useful for dragging things around. Ooh, lost my broadband connection by the look of it. Like that, you just drag it up to the layer that you want it to, the colour you want it to be. Okay, obviously you won't do that because you won't want an odd piece. So I'll just undo that. Okay, so let's just make it and see where we are with paper. So that's the little piece of your bow. That is the template for the florist foam. This is all your overlays and parts of the ribbon which are set to be the same colour as the overlay. As I said before, you can change it. Let's just see if we can change that to A3. Yeah, we can, and it fits on one A3. And you probably would need an A3, even if you did all that moving around with those pieces. I think you'd probably still need an A3. And this one, let's change that to A3. Yep, the main vase fits on A3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, fits on A3 as well. You could get that as the other one on two 12 by 12s and a scrap for this base. So it just depends how much you like to save paper, how expensive the paper is that you're using, you know, and how frugal you need to be with it. Okay, I'm going to press cancel because I'm not cutting that. We'll bring the daisy in now, just have a quick chat about that. This is the flower that comes in all groups, so we do need to ungroup it. And there we go. This is bear grass. I really love putting something in an arrangement that looks like bear grass because it really seems to lighten the whole arrangement, I think. Just these lovely spikes coming out of the display just seems to really lighten it up and gives it a bit of a real feel, I think. So you would cut as many of those as you wanted. Each flower is made up of 3 petals, or at least it is the way I've designed it, is you can do exactly what you want. And a stamen, it's set up to roll around a bamboo barbecue skewer, which are really cheap to buy. They're about 3.5 millimeters in diameter, and they make a really nice cheap stem for a vase, I think. You could use florist wires if you wanted to, but they're a lot more expensive and a little bit harder to work with, I think. So I for this one, this lovely sort of, I'm just looking at it now, sort of spring-like, simple display. I've just used bamboo skewers for this one. You could wrap them, you could wrap the skewers in florist tape if you wanted them to be green, or you could colour them in with a permanent green pen or something if you don't want that brown to be visible. But if you pack enough into your vase, you can't see the stems anyway. So when I made mine up, I made some with the full flower, so 3 petals and the leaves and the stamen, and then just to fill in the odd gap in the bouquet where I didn't want to cram in a whole flower, I just put the stamen and one petal on a stem, and then when I pushed that into the tiny holes, they curved up really nicely and just filled the tiny gaps. But basically, you'll just decide how many flowers you're making. I'm not sure what the best way to do it is. When I did mine, I did them all individually, but what would happen if you said I want to make 12 flowers? Yeah, so it could work. I did them separately, but I confess I don't cut a lot of flowers. These sort of crafting projects are not something I do a lot of. That will definitely fit on an A4 look. What it should do, is it saying it won't because of the length of it? They will though. Yeah, they definitely will cut from A4. So what I would do there is I choose 12 by 12, but then when you put your A4 on the mat, just maybe move it a couple of mil over from that left edge, but I cut all mine from sheets of A4, so it definitely does work. You could, again, if you use an expensive paper and you want to save it, you can try moving these around and interlocking them a bit, seeing where they fit. Try and cram as many as you can onto one mat. But otherwise, let's choose A4. Yeah, you'd probably get, if we look at that mat, you'd easily get another 4 on there, wouldn't you? How many have we got on there? Yes, you get 8 on a mat, an A4 by the look of it. So you'd get 16 flowers from 2 A4s. That's pretty good, isn't it? And then you've got your 12 pieces of bear grass, which definitely would fit on an A4. If you're going to make lots of flower arrangements, double up on those and just keep them somewhere in a nice container. As I said before, you do get a PDF of really detailed instructions on how to put the whole thing together. And I think that's all you need to know. If I've missed anything out when you come to make it or cut it, don't hesitate to get in touch. I'm always happy to help. You can contact me on Etsy or Facebook. The links to do that are in the description below. And if you've just stumbled across this SVG and you'd like to buy it, the link to do that is also in the description below. Thanks a lot. Bye.